So this video is about the overlays that are available in Loris. So I will demonstrate them with the haha sample that we already analyzed.
Aha.
So you can remember it. So you have multiple ways of calling the overlays, but basically usually you click cycling, corral, or one shot or scrub. So cycling will go in the analysis in a cycle, so repeating it forever in different ways. The corral will also do the same thing, but we'll have two analyses going reverse. So really the idea is kind to be a kind of corral when you use voice, or to give you a bigger sound. So you will see that we can go through an analysis in one way or the other, or whatever we want. And so here it's the same analysis where one is read in the forward way and the other is read in the backward way. So that's kind of funny. The one shot is more traditional, as you have with samples. So it goes in one way up to one point and then will possibly make a small loop or be stable, whatever you want, at the end of the analysis. And the scrub is a way to move your finger across the surface of the continuum and travel through the analysis using the x-axis. So we will demonstrate them. So one way to select an analysis is to click here. So you see if I click cycle, there is a UI which is loaded for this Loris cycle overlay. If now I press Corral, then Corral is loaded, and so that's a different one. The first three are very similar. The last one is kind of different. Also, that's a traditional way to start with. But if, for example, so here on the other screen, I have, I can show it. I have the editor. If I click here, cycle, and you see behind the cycle overlay has been loaded. So these are some preset of my continuum. I can also press plus minus button here to change the preset, and you will see that the preset automatically, the UI automatically updates. So whenever you have a preset which is inside your continuum, if it has been designed with one of the Loris overlay, it will automatically reload the proper overlay so you can manipulate it. So let's start with the cycling overlay. They are all kind of similar, so we will start with this one. So we it's a bit slow. So if we have a look at how the UI is built, the center part is really the part where you will manipulate the analysis. On the top, you have a set of performance features, so some filters, an envelope, some expressivity, routing, pan and modulation, volume, and so on. And the lower part is about effect and LFOs and the pitch shifter. So that we have mainly three main thing: the LFO modulating kind of whatever you want, the pitch shifter, the convolution, and the master effect. So let's start with the walk through the analysis. So here you select your analysis. So I just loaded one analysis in this continuum, which has one name here. So it appears here, but to select one, you can either click here, either use different arrows here. So you can go up to 40. So let's stay on our analysis. So if I play it, so the cycling pass in the analysis is here. It's a bit slow. So you can control the speed. You can control the starting point. starting from the middle of the analysis with a small length. So here length at 0. Okay. Another one thing, we have the speed here. I may want to have a different speed depending on where I'm on the y-axis. So, if I do this and rate this, I'm quite low. And if you put it to the maximum, you really stop. Okay, so that may be useful when playing. Another interesting feature is that so we are just reading traditionally, but you can select the path. So that's going from the beginning to the end here, or a traditional ramp through that path. But we can read backward. So that's a way to go. Or you can use a triangle back and forth. Or you can have also a hand window, which is smoother. The rhythm is kind of different. Let's be back to the triangle. If I play multiple notes, they are not synchronized. I may want to synchronize them. I'm going to release small delay. If I click here, no, sorry, not that one. Sorry. Oops. If I click here. Here, now they will be synchronized. So you see that may be something useful when you won't have, I would say, several persons speaking together at the same rate, so you can synchronize all the voices. So that's the pass through the analysis. Now you have a lot of possible manipulation. The first one is, of course, the format. And if you go at 0, that means there is no format. So we will have the traditional chipmunk effect here. Okay, and there the keyboard follows. So you basically fix the way you want to sound at the higher level, and then you go. So to have some kind of balance on the format all across the pitch level. There's the unpitch. In this analysis, we have two notes. But I can kill. So now that's only one note. Okay, so that may be very useful for playing, because playing with somebody having multiple notes in the singing is often difficult. It's often nice to slack a little bit. So not putting 0, but having an intermediate value. You have the tuning, because you've heard when we've done this, we have changed the global tuning of the notes. It may be there's what we call here simplify. Basically, the more simplification you give, the less higher partial you are using. So. And same thing, you can change this across the keyboards of having different behavior depending if you're high or. It's often more useful to have a lot of simplification when you are high, because you don't need higher harmonics, because you won't be able to hear them. So the keyboard follow is useful. There's a spread possibility. The spread is going to take the frequencies inside the analysis and spread them so in different ways. And you have, so that you can play with this, and that's something you can modulate also with the LFO. Each analysis may have some noise, so it's not always easy to hear. That's really depending on the analysis. So that's, you can hear it a little. So that's the noise inside the analysis. So that's something you can control. You've seen that I've touched this button also because there is noise color, and the noise color is the same here and here. So by changing the color of noise, you also change the color of the noise inside the analysis. There's one thing which is also quite useful here, is to have a stronger fundamental. Basically, that's adding a sign at the fundamental level. So that's where you may need to have a better tuning of the pitch. So that may be useful. That may okay. You have then stability. So that's kind of FM, but that's not a true FM. But it may give you interesting way of manipulating your sound. You can use a sign or use noise to modulate the sound. So the noise will sound that way. So that's really to experiment. You will see later. Having it all the time is usually boring, but you can assign this to the y-axis for you, if I put it as a. So that's the way to go. One thing is that you see it's a sine modulation, so there's a predefined setting, so you can use it for vibrato. So that's basically all you need to know on how to manipulate the analysis itself. So let's now have a look to the other features, starting with the performance line. So the performance line gives you access to a filter, which has an envelope, some expression parameters, panel modulation plus volume. So the filter, it's kind of. So traditional filter, low pass filter. You can add resonance. It has a keyboard follow, so traditional to no follow. And there's also a Z, so you can use a Z to increase the filter, so the pressure. So the pressure is really acting directly on the filter frequency. So that's basically what you have. Let's lower the. Okay, now we have an envelope. It's an AD envelope with attack and decay, and it has a depth. The depth is really on the filter. The release is global on the filter and on the global volume. So if I put a lot of depth, you here it was quick. Let's have a lower, slower decay. And one thing also, this envelope can be looped. So if you click loop here, so you can have fun with the filter and the envelope. So it's very traditional. I guess there is no questions to be raised about this. Then you have the expression. So the first, so you remember we have the formant here. Let's get the higher or the resonance, the high filter. So I can have. I can put the Z as an action on the formant. So here it will be positive. Here it will be negative. Same thing for the Y. The Y can act on the formant. Positively or negatively. Then we have a LFO, so you can assign. So I didn't explain the LFO, but basically, so if I still put the LFO on the formant, for example, here. If I put Z to the to the LFO speed. Same thing for the Y. So that's a way to control all this. And let's put it to 0. So the Y could be assigned to the filter. So if we have the filter down. And the Y could be, I demoed it previously to the stability. So if I put a lot of instability here, that could be only. Let's lower it. It's a bit. Let's cut this. And we also can have, so we still have the modulation or whatever. Y to the shift volume or to the shift feedback. We have a pitch shifter here. We will demonstrate it later, but basically if I put it at a high volume, it can have a feedback, so you can raise the feedback at the same time. Okay, so that's a set of expression control that you can manage quite easily directly from the UI. There is also a possibility of having a panning modulation, so with the speed and the pan depth. Something which is funny about it is if you play one note, there will be. There is not much of it. But if I play multiple notes, it will start, and the more notes you play, the more So it's a really fun effect, which is make your sound, your preset sound wider. It's kind of interesting when you go to try to have some chorale effects. And then the volume and pitch control. So you have a volume that you can be different depending on where you're on the keyboard. So keyboard tracking. So if I'm at this point, the high notes are high, but not the low one. Same opposite. So if you want a balance level all across the surface, that's the parameter to be used. You have pre and post gain, so allowing you to for example, get some kind of saturation. The pre and post gain that you can use. And then you have the portamento and run rate. So the portamento, so the run rate is something continuum players know well. It quantize your playing, and more or less. And the portamento is the pressure weighted portamento. So if I go here, I go smoothly from one note to the other up to a fifth. The smooth here is more for the osmose. When you do this on a continuum, usually you press a little bit and slide and press again. And that's very nice when you hear it, but doing this on the osmose is kind of complicated, and this is automating this behavior for you. So when you go from one note to the other, there will be a volume drop between the starting and ending note. So that's all for that performance level. Quite a lot of parameters you've seen, so you can really play with this and go quite deep in the synthesis. So next part will be about the effects and modulation. So the effect and modulation line, some interesting feature here. So a traditional LFO that can be single cycle or not, meaning that you can use it as an envelope also, or as an LFO, and as usual you can select a kind of shape you want to have. So it is a ramp, like traditional ramp. So basically, I showed it already on the format. So it can be positive to the format or negative. You can of course control the speed. So if you put it single cycle, so if you, for example, do the triangle. So that's really acting here as an envelope. You can so manipulate the spread. So the spread, remember, it's here. So let's modulate the spread. It's single cycle, sorry. Okay, so that's one way to go. And it can be a tremolo. So really controlling the level of the output. And it can also control the pitch up or down. So the up or down is probably mainly useful when you use the single cycle. Where slower. The starting is a bit late. So. So that may be a way to control the pitch at attack time. Of course, you can also use it the same way as the vibrato, but it will be only up or low vibrato. Then we have a pitch shifter, which is one of the new feature in the 1040 and up release of the EaganMatrix. So it's easy to understand. So it's at max here. So that's funny. One traditional way of using it is to stay quite close to. If you select this, it's a delay-based pitch shifter. So the pitch shifting is delayed by something, and you can select by how much it is delayed. And since it's delay-based, as when you are creating an echo, you can feedback the pitch shift inside itself, so it will be a kind of shimmer effect. So let's take a little, do it like this, and have quicker. So you can have a lot of fun with this. The convolution is something you know from the Continuum. All the convolution are available here. So I have used here the pyramid snapshot, but that can be whatever. Let's take the auto harp. So you have the level of. Something I didn't explain before about the LFO is that you can modulate the body too. And of course you have the effect with all the traditional effects. So let's take the analog delay. Okay, so we've been through most of the parameters. Of course, this was not designed, if I intended to go in the sound design world. It was just demonstrating each parameter individually. So now you know pretty much everything. I will just have one more video about the other overlays. They are very similar, but I will just give you some explanation about the small difference you have between these overlays and the cycle one. But the cycle one pretty much have every feature you have in the other. So see you in the next video.